to walk you through the steps of the plan where you're first going to start touching and then restraining your dog's leg. So for me, Hazel's super comfortable having pretty much all of her body handled by me. But not all dogs are like that, and Hazel certainly didn't start off that way. We had to do some work to get here. So in step 2 of the plan, we want to get the dog comfortable with handling of their legs and feet. And for a lot of dogs, that means we're going to start at the shoulder blade. And I will show you what that looks like. So I'm going to gently touch Hazel's shoulder, and she's going to get some treats while my hand is here. I remove my hand and the treats stop. I want her to make the association that the touch makes the treats happen, not the opposite way. And then if I were moving down her leg, I could move on to elbows. And same thing. I remove my hand and the treats stop. And then lower legs. She's got a funny face right now. And it's important to know that this process may take a while for some dogs. I'm going to move to feet. Got my hand gently on her foot. And this may happen over the course of several sessions, and that's okay. A lot of dogs have body handling issues, and we can help them through them by going slow and taking things at a pace that's comfortable for them. If we've got a dog who's comfortable with handling and we're able to move on to restraint, we can move all the way back up to the upper leg. This time I'm giving Hazel's the area between her shoulder blade and elbow a little bit more of a squeeze. And I continue feeding her while my hand is there. And I stop feeding when I remove my hand. Then I would do that step on the lower portion of her leg as well. And hopefully you can see my hand is wrapped around a little bit more tightly. Then I can move on and do it to her feet. And I'm holding her foot pretty tightly here. And when you actually get to the point where you're working on the nails, you will probably be using some amount of pressure on your dog's foot. So getting them used to it before you bring the nail file or the Dremel into the picture is really, really helpful. Once we're sure that we've got a dog who's comfortable with restraint of legs and feet, we're going to move on to manipulating the toes. And again, here we're going to pick up the foot. I am going to put a little bit of pressure on it, and I'm just going to start playing around with her toes a little bit. And again, Hazel is completely comfortable with this. We've been working on it for a long time, but I want to make sure that that positive conditioned emotional response stays intact, so I'm not going to cease feeding her until I drop her foot. Now that I've gone through the steps of ensuring that my dog is comfortable with having her feet not only touched but restrained and her toes played with a little bit, I'm going to begin working on restraining her foot as if I'm about to file. So this is going to mean I'm going to put pressure on each toe so that I get extension of the nail and then have the ability to manipulate them a bit more. So if I start by holding Hazel's foot with my hand, I'm going to do a little bit more direct manipulation of the toenail. And you can see, hopefully, that I am extending her toes with each one. And that pushes her nails out a little bit more. And again, I'm holding, I'm manipulating, I'm feeding. I remove my hand, the feeding stops. The next step in the plan is to restrain the dog's foot, manipulate the toes, and touch with your tool. So we're going to do this toe by toe. I'm not going to turn the Dremel on. I'm simply going to touch it to her feet right now. If she pulls away, looks upset, or she starts resisting the touch, I'm going to back up a step, and that's really, really important. Now, here's something that's important as well. At this point, the whole thing is going to be, by necessity, a two-handed procedure. And so my ability to feed the whole time that I am touching is going to be a little bit difficult. So I just want to make sure that my touch and my feed happen as close together as possible, and that if I put the tool away, I cease to feed her. So this is simply going to look like that. I'm going to do this for each toe on this foot. And again, Hazel is a rock star. She's completely comfortable with this. She's probably wondering why I haven't turned it on yet. And her nails are a little bit long right now because my plan is to walk through the entire plan. Whoops, sorry honey, with all of you. And I can even do this, whoops, on the dew claw. And Dremel Hazel's toes for about 1 second each. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, making sure that I feed her after each and every toe. And this is where all of the work that you've put in, manipulating toes and nails, comes in handy, because you are going to have to separate them and extend them a little bit as you're working. And this is an extremely conservative plan by design. You may be able to go from 1 second to 3 seconds, whoops, pretty quickly. But just know that if you have to stay at 1 second for a little bit, you're perfectly fine, and that you should always be moving at your dog's pace. Now that I've demonstrated feeding after each toe, I'm going to move on to feeding on every other toe. And I'll just show you briefly what that'll look like. So I'm going to do my 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'll feed her here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good job, Mama. Good job. You're such a good dog. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, so excellent. So excellent. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good job, girly. Dremel off, food done. And then once we're sure we're maintaining our comfort at feeding for every other toe, we can go ahead and move to one entire foot and then feed. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'll pop her some food. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This nail's a little messy. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Excellent job, Mama.